Lesson 1.1, Expressions and Variables, is about introducing these terms and how you could apply them to doing certain problems. A numerical expression is basically consists of numbers and operations. So something like 10 times 4 or 24 times 100 or 50 times 2. Those are all, or like something divided by 2, something added by like 2, anything with numbers and an operation with its multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. A variable represents an unknown number. So x is usually what we use, y, z, to represent numbers that we do not know. So a variable expression is it's like a numerical expression except one of the numbers is unknown, a variable. So 10 10x, 10 times x, or 200 divided by x, or 2 plus y. Those are that's a variable expression. Now, evaluate just means to solve. So if you know x equals, if let's say we take this one here and we bring it down here. If we know x equals 2, then it would be 10 times 2. If we know x equals 10, then it would be 200 divided by 10. If we knew y equals 2, then it would be 2 plus 2. Okay, now to move on to the examples. Example 1. Is evaluating a variable expression, so something like 10x, 200x, 2 plus y. So it's asking us to evaluate 4 times d when d equals 120. So if d equals 120, we could just plug in 120 for d. So 4 times 120, which we plugged in for d, equals 480. This is how we solve a variable expression. Example 2. Is about evaluating a variable expression that has 2 variables. So something like x plus y plus 10. So that's a variable expression with 2 variables. The example it's giving us here is evaluate the expression x plus y when x equals 10 and y equals 4. So we plug 10 in for x, we plug 4 in for y, and we get 10 plus 4, which equals 14. I got to move on the answer. Example 3. Example 3 is how to write a variable expression. So this is telling us that we have 120 players in a baseball league, and we have to divide this amount of players into teams with the same number of players. So let's say we have P equals amount of players. We would have if we know the number of players on each team. So let's say P is like something we know. Like they know that we have 10, we know that we have 10 players on each team, let's say. So amount of teams, number of teams is equal to 120, which is 120 players, divided by the amount of players per team. So let's say we wrote our variable expression. Let's say we know that there is 12 players on each team. We would get number of teams equals 120 divided by 12. So we would know that there is 10 teams total. But in reality, this is only if we would have 12 players per team. We don't know how much players are per team, but if we plug in the amount of players per team into this equation, into this expression, then we would be able to solve for the number of teams, which would be different for every amount of players.